Good afternoon. This is Lana J. Ray with your news update on this October 20th, 2023. Hope everyone's doing okay on this Friday. Lots going on in the mainstream media, but also behind the scenes on the Telegram channel. Um, if you guys aren't watching Telegram at all, just get on the app, download it from your Play Store or your Google Store, whichever one you've got. Um, get on there and at least get on my channel. It's Lana Ray, Lanarea, all one word. Um, get on there because I throw everything. I watch about 40 to 50 different channels, and a lot of these are other types of media. Some are boots on the ground where they're actually there filming. Guys, we are becoming the news. Mainstream has greatly disappointed us. They lie about almost everything. It's just highly frustrating. That's why people have got out and just done this on their own. And they get their own intel from certain people, and I think the military's been very good at creating certain avenues to trickle out just enough information to where we can build some hope and reassurance that this thing is actually the greatest sting operation and the greatest move of God that's been around since the time that Jesus showed up on the earth. I think we're going to look back and decide that when this is all in a little bit better shape, which it will be in the near future. So today I'm going to try not to take more than 30 minutes and give you just a brief here's what's going on in the last few days. Lots going on. One of the news sources from Europe, from the Revealed Eye, has declared the COVID vaccines were approved illegally. So you've got this stuff going on in a lot of countries right now. This is from Rattletrap 1776, which is Derek Johnson. If you've not watched him, you need to. I've had him on here before, reading some of his stuff. This guy knows all of the military codes. He knows what Trump's already signed on all of his executive orders, that we are living through a military cog, a continuance of government right now where it's Trump declared an emergency with the fraud of the 2020 election. The military knows all about it, has all the evidence on it. So things stop, like the commander-in-chief stays with President Trump, and you're watching not even a good actor, guys, not even a good replica of this Mr. Biden that many of you think is our president, which he's not. He might be the president of the Incorporated USA, but he's not the president of anything. He's not the president of the Republic, which we're taking back. And if you haven't watched my series on the Act of 1871, get at least the first one, because it's really got most of the foundational information in it on my Rumble channel. Go to my Rumble channel, hit the follow and the notification bell, share it. It's just a few videos down. There should be 5 parts. Some of it may stretch your thinking a little, but so what? We got to do some of that right now. Anyway, Derek Johnson, he's bringing up some points here. Once again, why did Donald John Trump declare Jerusalem capital of Israel and not Netanyahu or one of their own descendants? I never thought about that. He had the embassy built for $500,000 and quickly. There's no way Donald John Trump went on his world tour, and that was in 2017, and faced all those federal corporation leaders without a massive military backing him. He would have been assassinated. That would have happened. Because I mean, he brought them all the evidence of all the crap going on with the cabal in their countries, whether they knew it or not. Some might have known it, some might have not. Instead, he established peace in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords. He was the first president to walk into North Korea after he told Little Rocket Man syndrome, we will obliterate them if they threatened with a nuclear weapon one more time. He ate in the Forbidden City in China with President Xi since the founding of modern China. Plus the optics with the Pope at the Vatican and the Queen in England, all the takedown of the Federal Corporation, which is the Act of 1871, and in the Queen of England, London. If you've seen that video, President Trump is walking in front of her military. He is in front, and she's fine with it. Wonder why? Probably because she's had to capitulate to him because of all the stuff that he brought, all of the evidence of what's been going on. So, very important time. There was rumor on Telegram that a Democrat in the House, Representative Brad Sherman, suggests George W. Bush Jr. to be the next House Speaker. Why? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? Gee, those of us that have been watching stuff for quite a while understand that George Bush Jr. was involved in our 9/11, which is going to be all brought to light very soon. So we own, I'm sure the white hats at this point, George Bush Jr. We know Senior's been already through military tribunals. You know, everybody in the media said he died, and yeah. We know he's been through military tribunal. From what we heard, he told it all. He gave all the names. He sold out the rest of them to the white hat military, and Junior, we'll see. We'll see where he's at. But I don't know, we've not seen that. This was like 3 or 4 days ago. Would have been like 16, 17. We're not seeing any evidence of that being brought up right now, because right now we're still working with Jim Jordan, and as of this afternoon, it's like 12:46 Central Time on Friday, October 20th. Jordan has just lost his third House run for Speaker. We'll see how that goes. McCarthy, what was it, like 17 times they went through this, so we'll see. I'm going to read something else that Matt Gaetz put out just a little bit ago. Iran's been having earthquakes recently. They had a 5.8 magnitude earthquake in Iran. Okay, Iran's in the news. We always have heard that the earthquakes is where the white hats are going in and destroying the underground tunnels after they make sure there's no children still in there, and women and anybody else that they've used for sex trafficking or organ harvesting, or whatever other evil satanic thing they decide to do with all of us people. It's sick. But this is the reality of what we're dealing with right now. And of course, they brought out the Sound of Freedom movie to try to wake up the rest of the people that, think that that's all just, make believe, and that all of us conspiracy theorists are just, crazy. Well, um, they may be giving us a call here in another few days, wanting to get our opinion on when when's all this crap that just hit the fan, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna survive? Yeah. All right. Hang on. Israel has asked for 10 billion in emergency U.S. aid from us. Like we've got it, like we've got the money for it. We'll just print some more money. Why can't they just print some money? I don't know. Why do we have to be the one to just run the printer? Um, for Israel to be asking for that makes you wonder. Just, we always think Israel's got the best military in the whole world and stuff, but I don't know how I don't know how the people just got right into Israel and bombed them, I mean, how does that happen when they have this dome thing going on? Don't you wonder that? Why was it so easy? It's not. There is more going on there, that the media is lying. And I'm not saying there's not something going on over there. Yeah, there is. The military coalition's probably over there trying to get rid of the infestation of the cabal that. And Netanyahu, I don't know. I don't know if he's a good guy. I don't know if he's a good guy, bad guy, bad guy that turned himself over and is acting like a good guy. We don't know. And I'm telling you, this has nothing to do with the Jewish people and the nation of God's people, Israel. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that state, Israel. That they've gotten taken over just like the rest of us, just like every other country. Yeah, well, anyway. Of course, Mr. Biden, this dude, um, he went to Israel. He's over there. I think he's still over there. He was there on the 18th, which was 2 days ago. He arrived at Tel Aviv. Um, okay, I'm going to read this from a telegram from a guy named Casper. And once again, I'm not saying that there might not be some innocent people dying over in Israel, but what's going over there? There's also some real shady stuff going on. And this guy, Casper, has been involved in a lot of military personally. You know, um, he said, I've seen more dead bodies and buildings being destroyed than I'd care to admit. The video, and this is the video where the media, mainstream media, has been showing these dead bodies laying around Israel. Okay, he's taken those and looked at them closer. And he's saying this video is completely false and staged. There's no destruction around them, no crazy carnage, blood, etc. Just fake bodies strewn about for a very shortened video that just shows the mannequins and virtually nothing else. The narrative looks to be pushed for look what bad Israel has done. This was probably over Gaza then, these bodies. To keep this thing drug out longer and get the world's focus and attention by the Palestinians. It's all cover for something we aren't seeing or noticing. There are huge developments elsewhere in the world we aren't paying attention to. Putin's in China, the fact that certain folks are in Europe investigating the 2020 election fraud servers. There's no Speaker of the House, Trump fraudulent court case. We could go on and on. So if you look at some of these pictures, it's like there's fake bodies. And the grass is all green where they're laying. I, it's just, there's just details, people. Look at the details. Uh, we've got one thing that came up on Fox News that talks about, Biden's given some kind of statement. He's got a typed statement on here, but at the top is the White House of Barack Obama. Which, yeah, we know he's in the basement giving the orders. That's what he said he wanted to do if he had a perfect world going on. I want to play you, though, Phil Godlewski's video. This is from 2021, sometime in 2021. But this, a lot of things that Phil talks about are things that are upcoming. I want you to listen to this. This is a few minutes long, but it is right on the money for what's happening right now.
Q talked about the first arrest. Y'all should go back and look at the Q drops in which Q talks about the first arrest. I think you'll notice that both times that the first arrest was talked about, it was at the 45-minute mark. Q also told us to trust FBI Director Christopher Wray, who's been in the news recently for not so good reasons. Who leads the FBI right now? Who raided Donald Trump's home today? Q asked us, how does evidence get entered automatically and legally if we don't control the Justice Department? You guessed it. An FBI raid. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You are watching a movie. It was a scripted movie. And every single step has been planned out perfectly and with military precision. This movie is not for the faint of heart. And this movie is very hard to watch at times. But everything that's happened so far, we've been told about. And all of the things that continue to happen or will happen in the future, we already know about. It's hard for a lot of people to draw a timestamp at the 45-minute mark to a massive clue like the one Q left us about the first arrest. The only thing I could say is it had to be this way. Buckle up. The show's about to begin.
Yeah, and we've seen the word buckle up the last week or so. That has been a repetitive term used. Here's another one from May 19th, 2022 that was really good as well.
imagine for a moment that you aren't listening to me tonight, and that you haven't listened to me for the past year or year and a half or 6 months, however you've been following. Imagine those people and how confused they're going to be during the confusion phase. I think that even during the clarity phase, they're still going to be confused. You shouldn't be. You won't be, in fact. But they will be. During the confusion and the clarity phase, I urge everyone to be safe, protective. Don't get into a verbal altercation with someone that you don't know. And when I say verbal altercation, I mean that in a negative way. I'm not saying don't converse with people that want to talk. By all means, do that. But don't get into it and say, this is happening, and then someone says, well, you're an idiot, that's not happening, and then stay safe. Be smart. Stay safe during both of those first two phases. After the clarity phase, I like to call there's 4 phases. I like to call the third phase, I was going to call it something else, but panic. Not for us, not for the people, not for citizens of the United States, but for the corrupt politicians, for the corrupt businessmen, for the corrupt CEOs, for the corrupt governors, senators, congressmen, secretaries of state, attorney generals.
Oh.
There's going to be major panic. Because after the first 2 phases, these folks who live amongst us are not going to be able to walk down the street.
They sold themselves.
They're not going to be able to drive their vehicle down the road. They're not going to be able to get on a plane in an airport. If people know where they live, I'm afraid certain radical people will do very bad things, which, by the way, I do that's why that was written. This plan that you see is this plan that you see has been written, has been implemented long ago. The overall plan. The details of the plan are, yet to be determined, but the overall plan was set into motion and cannot be stopped. So when it was written via a drop that they could not walk down the street, they will not be able to walk down the street. We're talking about that right now.
Yeah. We're real close to that point. Real close to that point. I mean, right now in the House, for this Jordan vote for Speaker, we're seeing who in the Republican Party is against him. Who's voting against him? Make the list. Make the list. Everything that's going on, everything Trump does when he brings somebody out into the light, that's why I'm not even sure about Jim Jordan. Because Trump just brags about him all the time. I'm real leery about who Trump brags about all the time, brings them out into the light. That usually means he's trying to get you to see stuff about him. He's wanting you to question. Who are they really? I mean, is Jim Jordan worth in assets over $30 million like I read yesterday? Is that true? Is it not? Where did he get that kind of money? Is he even any better than Pelosi? Well, I hope so. Most of us do. We kind of like him, seems like a nice guy. We get so sucked into these nice people when they act nice, and we don't even know who they are, really. A lot of people act nice until you really find out. And then we have President Trump giving a speech. Where was he at? This is where he was in Iowa. He was casting a vision for 2024, which is a bunch of you-know-what, I think. That's my opinion. I don't think we'll make it that far. But it says, he's saying, what they don't understand is that I am willing to go to jail if that's what it takes. He said it. Okay. He said it. Now just hang on to that thought for a later text here. But we do think that Trump has to be out of view when everything hits the fan. When this whole thing comes down on this Biden guy, whoever, the entity that we have sitting there. Trump's got to be out of the way, because you've still got a bunch of the liberals that have been so brainwashed against him by the media that they're, he's got to be completely out of the way to where they can't blame him for, why caffeine keeps them awake at night. I mean, that's how stupid it's getting. They blame him for everything, even though, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Um, this is a scary thing. Gates Foundation insider admits depopulation drugs are pumped into fast food meals. Now we all know Bill Gates is a evil nut job, computer guy slash physician, pharmaceutical genius. Yeah, right. I don't think we buy into that one, and we don't know where he's at. I kind of have an idea. The MSM will not be able to hold out much longer. Their own narrative is going to wake up the masses, which leads right into where they're being led to be. They will broadcast the events that the operation is doing and red pill the world. Down this path we go. They're not going to have a choice at some point. They're going to have to be broadcasting the real truth. And it's going to wake up the people, because what are they going to do? They've listened. We the people's listened to them for years. 50 years I've been listening to mainstream media. They've been owned by the cabal that whole time. This is why I'm saying I don't believe we went to the friggin' moon. I don't, but if we've got the technology to do everything that you'd have to do to land on the moon and walk around, we shouldn't have anybody starving here on the earth. We shouldn't even probably have this phone thing. We should have something that's even bigger, better than that. I mean, come on. There's so much about all of these things that just doesn't make really sense after a while. I mean, you got to question everything now. It's a part of the whole awakening process. Don't forget about Ukraine. Russia is and has been taking out the deep state Nazi there. This is why the deep state needed to start the BS holy war to change the news cycle. We've entered into the end game. It's a good thing. But what happened to Russia and Ukraine all of a sudden? After they've pumped billions and billions of money out of the American people. Don't you wonder? I mean, did they just say, "Oh, wait a minute, let's take a break, guys. Stop the fighting, Russia, Ukraine. We're just going to stop for a minute. Let's zoom in and watch Israel and Palestine and oh gosh." All right, and this is a famous, and I'll try to not say all these bad words in here. Um, but Hillary Clinton, there's an email to Donna Brazile, October 17th, 2016. That's right before the election where Trump won in November 2016. This is Hillary Clinton. Can you see her? This email is her quote. You can find it. It's real. And she says, if the effing B word wins, which she's talking about President Trump, we all hang from nooses. We're finished. And if I lose, it's all on your heads for screwing this up. You better fix this shit. Well, this is why she was so surprised when he won. She thought, they messed around with 2016. That's really where all the evidence is of the election fraud. Is 2016. That she just thought she'd win because they fixed it, but they either didn't fix it enough, Because you had military watching all this. They were watching all of it the whole time. They've got 2016 all recorded. Our military, guys, their oath is to the Constitution, not the federal government. Now, yeah, there could be generals that's owned by them. They've been reeled in. They've been threatened. They've been whatever, bribed, whatever. Trump talks about the good generals that are behind the scenes and the bad generals that are on TV, like Mark Milley, which I've heard is now gone. But because the military tribunals just keep going on and on and on. So here's where today the New York judge threatens to lock up Trump over alleged gag order violation that they put on him a few days ago. Guys, get ready. Those of you that love President Trump and want him back and all this, you're going to have some thick skin. Because they are probably going to have to lock him up. It won't, in my opinion, he's got probably 10 or more doubles. Have we even really seen the real President Trump? I don't know if we've seen him in 2-3 years. I don't know. This man, they've tried to kill him. That's all going to come out when this is all over, or, to the point where we can talk about it, and they're going to be talking about it. I've heard 18 to 19 different times that he's been attempted assassination on him, because the deep state, well, they're going to have somebody that looks like him go to jail, and then that way all the liberals and all the Republicans and all the other people. I hate the labels. I hope we get rid of all political party names. I hope that race ends. The divisions that these guys have caused us, that they've pitted us against each other, is totally unacceptable for American people under the Constitution and under the Word of God. There should not be division among God's people. I want to encourage you to just get rid of that whole thought process of division. You might as well start reprogramming yourself, as Paul, the Apostle Paul would say, renew your mind to the Word. And there is no division in the Word, other than believers and unbelievers. That's the only division we've got. In the whole believer group, we're just all one big happy family. We don't care what we look like. We don't care where we're from. We're all in the spiritual kingdom. We're all in the kingdom of God. We're all the same. That's where we need to go. That's unity. That's the unity. And then we with that, hey, how easy is it going to be to bring in the unbelievers into the kingdom when we're all united and we're all of one mind and we love Jesus and we do what Holy Spirit says? It's the goodness of God that leads people to repentance, to get them to turn. It's a turning. It's not rocket science. It's simple. We've tried to complicate it with religion. Oh, preaching better than I ought to be. 5'3" blondes. I don't know if we're supposed to preach or not, but I think I'm going to do what Jesus tells me to do versus any person on the earth. And now we've got General Flynn. And he's made this big statement today on Q, which, if you don't know what Q is, that's probably another time. I'm running out of time now. But General Flynn's making comments about, Q is a psyop. Of course, first of all, he's not talked about whether it's a good psyop or a bad psyop. He says psyop. So naturally, everyone takes that as though he's saying, it's awful and all that. What do you think, General Flynn, if he really is General Flynn and he's really good and he's one that's really in charge of the whole Space Force, the cyber um, military piece, if he's really part of the good white hat movement here, is he going to tell the enemy that Q is pretty awesome, part of Space Force, that their post that they put out is pretty much on track? And do you think General Flynn, after he's said time and time again, we do not inform our enemies of what we're about to do? Trump said it several times. We're not going to tell the enemy our plans and our moves ahead of time. So do you think Flynn's going to tell? He will tell you nothing. He will tell you nothing that's going to give away the plan. Just hang in there, guys. Have some common sense about military strategy. If I can get this, anybody can. I've known nothing about any of this 3 years ago. I've been doing this 3 years. I've been researching, listening to people, putting things together, reading the Q post. Guys, this stuff's happening. It's happening. Everything that's in there is happening. We're waiting for the Three Gorge Dam to go down. That's one of the few things that hasn't happened yet. Just watch it in China. It may be one of the last events when they start blowing up all the buildings. You're going to know, we've got a lot of buildings in the United States that's going to go down because they're not good buildings. It's just the way it is. This bunch of evil people have used buildings to do incredible things. All right. That is 45 minutes of the last 2 or 3 days, and there's a lot more coming. I know Matt Gaetz did an interview about half an hour ago saying that the 8 of them that's wanting Jim Jordan in as Speaker of the House, they're willing to undergo censorship, all kinds of stuff, be removed from the Republican conference. I mean, all kinds of stuff to get the vote to put him in. So that's kind of a big deal. We'll see where it goes. I think it's scripted. I think whoever gets in there is supposed to get in there because it's going to move along the plan, and all of this is about timing. The timing of events is really crucial. Everything to do with North Korea, China, Israel, Palestine, United States, the House, the Senate, the military, governors of states, what's going on in certain states, everything going on with President Trump, everything going on with the fake Biden. And there was a picture, there was a video, it's down here somewhere, of his chin about to fall off. I mean, it was like his mask was so, they did it on purpose. They're trying to, how much do you have to see that's wrong with somebody before you can understand and you'll admit it to yourself that you're being deceived? We're all being deceived through the mainstream media, and they're trying to let us know, guys, look, his chin is about to all fall off his face. It's just hilarious. You may be getting mad at me, but, you'll get over it. You'll get over it. We got to bring the hard truth sometimes. Watch this stuff. looking at CNN just like you are. Look at it. Anyway, it is Friday and it's going to be a great time, and I just want to encourage you to stay in hope. This thing, these things are just too ridiculous not for it to be going down. I've never wavered for one, well, maybe a minute, but not two, for 3 years. This is going to be wonderful because we are actually in the 50-year Jubilee, according to biblical times. And I'm telling you, if you're not watching Bo Polney, I'll come back at some point and just give you a few brief things that he's saying on the biblical timeline. We're hitting it. We're hitting it. We did October 6th with the war between Israel and Gaza, that whole thing and Iran, just hit it right on the day. And so Tuesday the 26th, Tuesday the 24th through the 26th of next week, something big is supposed to occur. We don't know what it is, but according to the biblical timeline, there is something, and it could be a financial thing, because we are waiting for the stock market, the dollar, to completely fold. However that will look, it'll just scare everybody to death. We have to have the scare event. I'll be back with more on that, but the scare event, we can't get away from it. But hopefully those of you that's been listening to this podcast and some of the other ones, where you've been told what's getting ready to happen, and just to hang on. Get your water, food, and your cash. We'll probably have a lockdown. But this time it's going to be different, because they are going to end this nightmare. So, have a good rest of your day, and I will be back as things keep progressing. And I'm back on for just 1 second. Matt Gaetz has came out. The most popular Republican in Congress, which is Jim Jordan, was just knifed in an anonymous vote in a secret closed-door meeting in the basement of the Capitol. This is the swamp at work. So the Republican Party has removed Jim Jordan as a potential Speaker of the House. Stay tuned, guys. This is going to be getting good.